Alfredo Angulo, 18 of his 21 wins have come by way of knockout. His opponent, Jorge Silva, has 14 knockouts out of his 18 career victories. They touch gloves, and we are underway, scheduled for 10 rounds in this middleweight attraction. The fight was signed at 156 pounds.
And Mauro, Al mentioned how tonight on fight night, Angulo looks the bigger man. He's a natural junior middleweight, while Silva is naturally fights at welterweight. And you can see the physical size difference between the two as the first bell rings.
And a very different approach. Raul Caceres, who came after Alfred Angulo, Silva, who is a very aggressive fighter normally, not doing that.
Referee Raul Caiz Jr. warning Jorge Silva to keep his punches above the belt line. Angulo's daughter, Jamara Rebecca, who was his biggest source of strength during his 7-month stint in the detention center, celebrated her 7th birthday back on December 3rd, and her dad is putting the leather to Silva. Silva fighting off the ropes.
Angulo is in some trouble for that right hand. Wow.
I think Angulo was surprised. I think he thought he hurt Silva, and then Silva just roared right back.
Here's where Silva has to be careful, though.
Left hooks from Silva. Furious exchange here to kick off round 1. Silva goes downstairs to the body with the right hand, over top with the right. Couple of left hooks, a left hook to the body by Angulo, and you talk about throwing punches in bunches. That's what we are getting here in the opening round.
Silva loves to brawl, and he's good at it, but he's in against a much bigger man, so he needs to be careful.
And we saw the 10-year age difference between the two. A lot of times these young guys, they come with that youthful excitement, and they're not so smart, but they come out with that youthful fire, and it seems like that's what Silva did right off the bat as soon as Angulo touched him.
He was kind of trapped into fighting back, and he wanted to box like this, but he had to fight back, and he got Angulo in trouble.
Yeah, and boy, did he ever.
Silva usually competes at welterweight, has fought at 154 twice before. Again, this fight at 156, and proving he's got some power, moving up in weight as he did hurt Angulo early on. 45 seconds left in the first round. Right hand connects by Silva.
One thing Silva doesn't want to be lured into, because he's landing all these power shots, is to stay in front of Angulo too much. At the end of the day, he's still a naturally smaller guy. He doesn't want to give Angulo a chance to hurt him right back.
Angulo working with 2011 Trainer of the Year, Virgil Hunter, who of course was recently hired to train Amir Khan. He will be in Khan's corner later tonight in the main event when Khan tries to snap a 2-fight losing streak against undefeated local favorite Carlos Molina. 10 seconds left in the opening round. Angulo and Silva. Angulo punishing Silva along the ropes, but a very game start to this fight.
Don't reach for it, okay? When you down to the body, translate. Cuando nosotros down to the body, don't raise up.
Alfredo Angulo thought he had Silva in trouble here. He landed that nice right hand, and Silva was trapped against the ropes, and Angulo thought rightfully, as he blasted to the body and the head and kept whacking with those left hooks, that Silva was in some trouble. But here, Silva comes out with a beautiful left hook and a short right, and from that moment on, he had about a 45-second period where he really got after Angulo. And then later on in the round, they would again exchange in this pitched battle on the inside, and both men would land some of the same kinds of punches that they did before.
I'll tell you, Silva looked like the dog. You corner a dog and you intimidate him, what happens? He bites and he fights back.
No collar, but he knew he was the dog. And he landed 32 punches in that last round to only 11 for Angulo, so quite a round for Silva.
Angulo in the black and Silva in the black. Angulo was a amateur standout in his native Mexico, went 80-15 as an amateur, representing Mexico in the 2004 Olympics, started boxing at the age of 17. Silva started the sweet science at 16. taking a look at the power punches in our opening round, and a big edge in favor of Jorge Silva.
Remember that number. You don't see that very much. Almost four times the power punches landed against Alfredo Angulo. And you know, in his last fight, a draw against Yoshiro Kamigai, it was a very good fight for Silva. He landed 45% of his power punches.
Angulo lands a right hand, and again, Silva forced to fight back off the ropes. Ducks underneath the punch, now moving away from the ropes. I mentioned that he started fighting at 16. He actually turned pro at 16, did Silva, because no one wanted to fight him in the amateurs. He actually started at 13 and had about 60 amateur fights. And now Angulo lands a couple of stiff right hands. Silva along the ropes. And there's a couple of jabs. Left hook to the body by Angulo and a couple right hands. And Angulo now starting to put it on Silva.
Silva getting trapped against the ropes, and now he needs to hold.
So a great start for Silva, but in tough here in the second round against the veteran Alfredo El Pedo Angulo. Final minute of the second round. Angulo peppering Silva along the ropes. Short right hand. Left hook from Silva.
The trick when you fight Alfredo Angulo is to get him into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round. You've just got to get him there. And that's what Kirkland did, James Kirkland, and he was able to win against him. Herman Cintron outboxed him. But early in this fight, he is dangerous.
He's a bit more attentive to the defense as well. Silva missing a lot more this round. Last round, it seemed like he landed everything.
Angulo left hook, crisp right hand, a nice left hand to the body. Stiff jab from Silva. Final 10 seconds of the second round. Angulo continues to dig away at the body. Right hand catches Silva. And a left hand at the bell.
Silva not happy that there was a punch after the bell by Angulo. Complaining to referee Caiz appropriately.
I think Angulo wanted to give him something to think about on his way back to his corner.
After a rugged first round, Alfredo Angulo was able to do a little bit better when he trapped Silva on the ropes. Not only the left hook, but a freight train right hand. Many fighters go down when they get hit with that kind of punch by Angulo, and yet another right. So at the end of the round, Angulo had Silva again trapped against the ropes, landing very big shots. And here's where the round ended, and you see Angulo with Raul Caiz Jr. in a bad position behind him, can't stop him from throwing that punch.
And you see Angulo started that last combination with a double right hand. Silva rolled on the first one, but he didn't come back with a counter punch. And because he didn't come back with a counter, Angulo was able to double it up and then follow up with the rest of the barrage. When you make a roll, when you roll like that, if you don't come back with a counter, you're putting yourself out of position.
Angulo's trainer, Virgil Hunter, told us that his goal is to refine Angulo and shore up the defense of the straight-ahead brawler. He's been receiving some excellent sparring with the likes of Michael Dallas, Amir Khan, who we'll see in action later tonight, as well as Demetrius Andrade, Tony Hirsch, and Brandon Gonzalez. So no shortage of quality sparring in Virgil Hunter's camp as we take a look at show stats courtesy of CompuBox. Power punches in the last round. Well, a reversal of fortunes.
Yeah, remember round one? Well, this is completely the opposite, yes. And Angulo just overpowering him against the ropes. And in fact, Angulo landed a total of 47 punches out of 90 thrown in that last round. So big round for him.
Angulo landing as many power punches as Silva threw. Left hook to the body by Silva.
You know,
Double jab.
We mentioned mentioned a reversal of roles in round 2. Let's not forget the first round was essentially Angulo's first complete round since his ordeal and since being locked up. You know, we were wondering how he was going to come out in the first round against Cáceres, but he got him out in 30 seconds. So, you know, maybe the slow start was also really him getting that. He was still in that feeling out process after having been out so long. At the end of the day, as our Twitter friend Kel Dansby says, the best defense is a good offense. Oh, for Angulo it is. But he hired Virgil Hunter so he can get his defense good too. Right hand and left hook to the body by Angulo.
Both men have had body punches straight low. There's another one by Angulo and another.
Under a minute remaining in the third round. Good exchange here.
Silva has been brought in as an opponent and kind of in Angulo's climb back to the top, but he's not fighting like an opponent. You know, he's fighting like a guy who wants to win, like a guy who believes he can win, and Angulo's having to break him down little by little.
He was definitely a step up from Cáceres, and if you look at his last couple fights, including the great fight against Kamagai, you know he knows how to fight. And I think that the edge for Angulo, they perceived is the weight difference, and it probably is, but Silva's a tough guy.
And he's also crafty.
Yes.
Silva fighting in the U.S. and outside of his native Mexico for only the second time in his career. He has 3 members of Tijuana's Morales family in his corner. Mexican legend Eric Morales' dad, Jose, is his chief second as they go toe-to-toe at the bell. And speaking of Silva's corner, that's where we will go with Felix De Jesus providing the translation.
Let me get the Vaseline. You need to work in the middle, and then you go back. Work the body in the middle and then go back. When you start throwing the middle, then you get to him.
By the end of the round, we were watching these two engage in a terrific back and forth battle. Good right hand by Angulo, but Silva giving almost as good as he got, and both men throwing really power punches during the course of that. And in fact, they both landed over 20 punches in the last round. Angulo 26 and Silva 21, according to show stats.
Fourth round underway. A terrific tilt thus far, and you have to wonder what the respective mothers think. It's always tough for a mom to watch their son do battle, but both of them are in attendance tonight. Maria Elena Silva, Jorge's mother, and Rebecca Lopez, Alfredo Angulo's mom, in attendance.
Angulo had the longest layoff of his career, of course, because of that detainment. This is the second shortest, only 35 days.
Lead left hook connects by Silva.
So he's back in the ring quickly, and yeah, Silva remains in this fight, and if he can take this into the middle later rounds, who knows?
3-punch combination by Angulo. Sticks the jab, lands the 1-2 combination. Angulo has Silva trapped on the rope. Silva circles away. Not throwing as much as he used to in the early part of the fight as Silva.
No, you know, Paul, I think that Silva's trying to get against those ropes and counterpunch Angulo.
You know, it's worked for him since round 1. You never know.
And there's Silva on cue. As I say, he's not throwing as much. Lands the best combinations of his fight tonight.
Good observation, Al. It seems like Angulo traps Silva against the ropes and then almost relaxes, like, okay, I finally got you, now I'm going to get you. And it's Silva, the younger man, who's pulling the trigger first. I like the instructions Silva got in his corner also. They told him, keep your punches up the middle. There's a little bit of loopiness to Angulo's offense. If you can get it right up the middle, you can actually beat him to the punch.
And that was Jose Morales, the father of the great Eric Morales, great Mexican champion, who's giving him the instructions.
Angulo hurt Silva with the jab. Followed up with a couple of right hands. Silva going downstairs to the body.
You watch this fight and you get the feeling any second something dramatic can happen.
Under a minute left now in the fourth round. Angulo has Silva along the ropes again. Punishing with the body shots. Left hook around the guard. Left to the midsection. Silva fights back with a couple of punches. Sneaks up the middle with an uppercut, hits Angulo with a right hand. Angulo now from the southpaw stance. Ripping away at the body, going upstairs with a right hand. Uppercut from Silva. 30 seconds left in the round.
Angulo's doing well as a lefty.
That time it was actually Angulo who went up the middle while Silva tried to go around. Angulo kind of took Silva's instructions and used them against him.
Oh, and I think he may have hurt Silva with that liver shot. Left hook to the body, 10 seconds left. Angulo beginning to unload, and Silva fighting back, catches Angulo with a left hook. Great fight here in Los Angeles.
He's game, guys. This Silva kid is game.
We look at Silva against the ropes. We said he was trying to lay traps for Angulo, and the right hand and the left would both be counter punches that he would land. There they are, wide looping punches, but they got there against Angulo. And then Angulo on the inside getting hit by Silva with those uppercuts on the inside. At the end of the round, though, it was this body shot that really changed the tenor of the round a bit. And you could see Silva grimace as he was hit with that punch. Even after that, though, Silva still fought back gamely.
You see Silva smiling like, all right, you landed a good one there.
I'll say.
Box.
The bell and round 5. Lots of respect between these two as they touch gloves again. Silva actually had been training with Mercito Gesta in high altitude in Big Bear, California for 2 weeks before he got the call for this fight. So he had about a month and a half to prepare for this major encounter against the former WBO interim junior middleweight champion Alfredo Angulo.
I think he's throwing more punches than Hesta did last week in his entire fight.
Silva, we saw the uppercut emerge in the last round. He's got a very good left uppercut. He's worried to throw it, though, so he doesn't get countered by Angulo. But when he gets that punch in, it's very effective. And there's the jab from Silva. We haven't seen too much of that in the last couple of rounds.
Good counter left hook upstairs by Silva. Another left hook connects by Silva. Just past the minute mark of this 5th frame. Angulo touching him up with the jab.
Probably the most important punch now Angulo has in this fight is the left hook to the body. It's the one that might be the difference maker, I think.
Silva trying to get his legs under him, bouncing up and down. Penned in the corner along the ropes. Lands a left hook to the body. Angulo pawing him with the jab. They come together.
You know, both men slowing their pace a little this round, and why not? What a pace that it's been in this fight.
Not only was it a fast pace out, but also a lot of those power shots landed so flush. You know, besides the pace slowing you down, getting hit like that will slow you down.
That'll do it too. You're right. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Silva comes over the top with a right hand and a left, and Angulo avoids that left hook. Under a minute remaining here in the 5th.
You start to wonder if Silva was a legitimate 154-pounder, how bad would those right hands hurt Angulo? Wow, look at Angulo.
Yeah, it's a good question, Al. You know, he has been hit flush, and he has felt some of those shots, so you never know.
What a great fight.
You know, there was another thing that, you know, got lost in all of this because he got locked up was the fight before he got locked up, he lost to James Kirkland in a war, in just a rock'em sock'em kind of fight. There's always question marks from a guy coming back from a fight like that, and he kind of got lost in all of this because, you know, he got himself locked up after that.
And a quick knockout when he came back. Silva languishing on the ropes again. He's looking for the counters, and there's an uppercut on the inside. But Angulo working.
Just want to mention unjustly locked up for months.
Good point.
Nice flurry by Angulo, having Silva along the ropes to end the round. Great fights. Well, they bring out great fighters, especially here in the City of Stars, Los Angeles. Sugar Shane Mosley in attendance. boxing luminaries taking in the great boxing action to kick off Showtime Championship Boxing tonight between Alfredo Angulo and Jorge Silva.
That really was a roster of great fights. Great fighters. You were right, Mauro.
Cuidado con la cabeza. Cuidado con la cabeza.
And to this point, the total punches landed, 147 for Angulo and 109 for Silva. And that shows you that both men are getting a lot done offensively.
And here you see Silva trying to give a little bit of a commitment to the jab, more so than he's done in the last rounds. He's been showing great footwork and some decent boxing skills, but without the jab, Angulo's been able to cut the distance on him. Let's see if, with a more consistent jab, if Angulo's able to get as close as he was in the previous rounds.
He started it in the last round a bit, but you're right, Paulie. Now he's committed to that jab a bit.
And that's the thing. He got hit last round and then stopped using it.
Yeah.
You got to commit to the jab, even if you take a punch. You got to stay with it.
Good point.
Let's take a look at the unofficial scores at the halfway point of this fight.
Oh, what a shot.
As Silva lands a shot on Angulo, backing him up. You see that all three of our unofficial scores have it for Angulo at the midway point of the fight, but Silva looking to turn the tables here in round 6.
He's having a monstrous round early.
And it started with him working off the jab first.
Yes. It changed the entire tenor of this fight.
Under a minute and a half left in the 6th stanza.
Is Angulo getting tired? Long layoff. Only a one-round fight. Back 35 days later. All factors.
Taking a look at the power punches in this round. Wow. It's a shutout for Silva.
That's in progress as this round's going, and I'll tell you what, Silva's also showing a movement. He's doing everything right in this round.
Yep. You add the jab to the movement. It's not just an offensive weapon. It's a defensive weapon. He's keeping Angulo from setting up his offense.
Great points.
Jorge Silva, just 20 years of age, a record of 18-2-2 with 14 wins by way of knockout. Won 5 of his last 8 fights, along with 2 draws, so has had a lot of success leading into this, the biggest fight of his career.
There is not as much on Alfredo Angulo's punches now. He's pushing those punches. He's throwing them in more looping fashion. This is not the same fighter of 2 rounds ago.
Well, let's see if he's either taking off a round to regroup for the next, or if he's really getting tired. This is a big round for Silva.
Raul Kais Jr. warning Silva to keep the punches above the belt. Triple jab from Angulo as we are headed to the 7th at the LA Sports Arena.
Alfred Angulo using the jab. It's a good double jab, but Silva rolling and then coming up with this nice left hook and then the straight right. That was early in the round, and that punch, along with the jabs that Silva ended up throwing, really changed the way this fight's being fought, and the fact that Angulo just couldn't get his punches off the way he had earlier in the fight.
Pick up the jab quicker. All you need with the short, turn on your punches a little more. Keep them short, okay? Game dog. Tell him game dog. Game pedal, okay? Pedal on the jab. Roll the shoulder.
As we embark on the 7th round, you heard from Angulo's trainer, Virgil Hunter. Wants him to turn his punches, keep them short, Paulie.
Yeah, you know, good solid instructions. It seemed like Angulo, and maybe he was getting fatigued. He's starting to slow down a little bit. There wasn't as much on his shots, and also they were starting to loop. It's a sign of fatigue when you start to loop more and more. He naturally loops his offense a little bit, but it was starting to get a bit more loopy that round.
You know, it's not as if Silva has fought bad fighters. His last 5 opponents have a record of 71-12-2. So he's been in against good fighters.
He's a good little fighter himself, let me tell you.
He sure is, yeah.
Silva acquitting himself well on this, the biggest stage of his career. The tweet, Angulo has no defense. If Silva had any power, Angulo would be in a lot of trouble. Do you concur, gentlemen?
I don't know about no defense, but clearly Silva's hand speed and his accuracy has helped him land punches against Angulo. And Alfredo's never been exactly Pernell Whitaker.
You get the feeling both of these guys are having a good time in there. You know, it's a fight that probably most of us wouldn't want to be a part of. So physically demanding, but you get the feeling both these guys are having a good time in there. As you saw Silva raising his hand up in a showboat fashion.
I know it's low-hanging fruit, Al, but some would say it's a dogfight, right?
I'm proud of you for saying that, Marl.
Minute 40 left in the 7th. Good left hand by Silva, staying busy, working the body. Angulo using that jab, but really just putting it out there, maybe using it as a rangefinder, but like you guys said, not following up with the right hand, not as active as he was early in the fight, and you wonder, and now, of course, again on cue, just coming back with a nice combination is Angulo, short right uppercut.
He's not throwing those punches, Angulo, with as nice right, with as much authority.
Silva backing Angulo up along the ropes now. Another short right uppercut by Angulo, who clinches. Raul Caiz Jr. separates them. Less than a minute remaining in the 7th round.
Very close round, and this one could be pivotal at the end if this fight goes 12 rounds.
Yeah, you just see Silva backing up Angulo when he lands his punches. Up until the James Kirkland fight, I really didn't see Angulo ever getting backed up when he would get a shot landed against him. He would come back or you know, rip to the body or just enjoy the exchanges because he was the superior power puncher. But I don't know if it's mentally he doesn't believe in himself as much since that fight. Another big exchange there.
By Silva. Angulo along the ropes. Nice right, left combination by Angulo. Sticks the jab through the guard. 20 seconds remaining in the 7th stanza. Right hand just misses by Angulo.
This is where Silva should be jabbing. He won the last exchange. He should be getting back on his jab to control the pace.
10 segundos para la campana.
Instead, he can't resist throwing the hooks, but he's landing them.
He is landing them. Again, that's that youthful excitement.
Exchange at the end of the round.
Another punch after the bell from Angulo. I would think a point might be deducted soon if that keeps up.
Oh, and you see the courtman say that's the 3rd time.
Yeah.
I don't think they even want to rest. I don't think they would mind just fighting straight through.
Alfredo Angulo did get off some good punches about a minute into the round when he had Silva against the ropes. But then Silva turned this round to his favor. He landed this very big right hand, and that was the punch that changed things for a good portion of the rest of the round. Then at the end near the end of the round, they battled away, and every one of those punches was a home run ball from each fighter. And I mentioned earlier 12 rounds. Of course, I meant 10 rounds. This is a 10-round fight.
10 rounds at 156 pounds. Virgil Hunter shouting out last-minute instructions to Angulo. Jorge Silva, the 20-year-old, getting off his stool as we are set for the 8th round, scheduled for 10. It's been an all-action affair thus far.
And if you want to know how close this fight is, in power punches now, the difference is 1 punch. Angulo's landed 126 power punches and Silva 125.
Wow. As we take a look at the total punches in the fight thus far. And look at that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is close. And that's why you know this is a very close fight. Even no matter how those punches are distributed in the rounds, we just know these rounds, there have been several rounds very close.
And combined, they have thrown over 1,000 punches thus far.
Angulo landed a good right hand there. Made Silva stop moving.
And that total continues to tabulate as Angulo sticks the jab to the body.
And speaking of the jab, Silva's just so inconsistent with his. This round he came out moving, but no jabs.
Yeah, you're right.
And Angulo's been cutting the distance.
Silva's been down 4 times in his career, but he's been hit with monstrous power shots and has not come close to going down.
Just landed a left hook to the side of Angulo's head. There's another left hook by Silva. Goes downstairs with a right to the body, left uppercut. And finally, Angulo responds. Under a minute and a half remaining in the 8th round.
That last left hook by Angulo was a strong one. Think about the last fight Angulo had. In 50-some seconds, it was over from one giant left hook. This is a whole different kettle of fish.
Man, this guy is very determined.
Infighting now between Angulo and Silva. Silva pushing Angulo back. Angulo tripling up the jab and a soft right hand follow-up as Silva along the rope. Silva ducking down.
And you know what? Both men have gotten away from going to the body for the last several rounds. That could make a difference. Remember, Angulo hurt Silva badly to the body several rounds ago. Has not gone back there.
Yeah, it seems a slow round on both parts. Seems like they're trying to maybe recover for the next round, because you can't have a fast-paced round every round. These guys just went at it.
Yeah. Wow.
And now a furious flurry here by Angulo.
Good
30 seconds
shot.
remaining in the 8th round, targeting the body. Puts out the jab again. Silva.
He heard me. That was it.
Puts the jab again through the guard. Silva doubling over. Wow. Both of them connecting. 10 seconds left in the 8th round. A back and forth brawl here between Angulo and Silva.
Okay, just keep going in this round. He just wants you to stop, but don't stop. And don't keep carrying him. You learned in this fight. You're winning this fight so far. You're learning.
Alfred Angulo in the last round got back to throwing some good power punches. Still pushed that right hand just a little bit compared to the way he was throwing it before, but it was a very good punch. And on the inside landed some big power punches. And good combination punching, which we hadn't seen from Angulo for about 3 or 4 rounds. And you heard in the corner, Jose Morales, they think Silva's winning. He might be, but I would think it's a very close fight.
Something else he said you're learning in this fight. This is a great experience he's going to take with him, whether he wins or loses this fight.
He's a 20-year-old that you can tell has a huge upside.
Alfredo Angulo, the former WBO interim junior middleweight champion in the black and silver. Jorge Silva in the black. 9th round. The LA Sports Arena, the opening contest here tonight on Showtime Championship Boxing. We hope you are enjoying it. The final edition of Showtime Championship Boxing in what has been a banner 2012. Oh, and a right hand connects by Silva.
A lazy jab thrown by Angulo. Good counter over the top of it. Silva did the right thing there.
You know, ironically, Silva, who's only had a 4.5-year career compared to an 8-year career for Angulo, has fought more rounds, 101 rounds to 89.
Let's take a look at the unofficial Showtime scoring after 8 rounds.
We have a slight disagreement. I've got it a draw, and you see Steve Farhood and Paulie Malignaggi with Angulo. Steve, explain your score to us.
Well, while I have Angulo slightly ahead, I think it's absolutely amazing that Silva's been able to fight this type of fight against a bigger, stronger guy and be this competitive and win as many rounds as he has. But you have to judge each round individually. Yes. And there have been some close ones, but Angulo's rallied over the second half of most of the rounds, and I think he has a slight edge.
Yeah, and obviously not much of a difference between our scores, but
just a round.
Very close.
Angulo beginning to assert himself here in round 9, scoring on Silva. And Silva putting his hands up as if to say, is that all you got? Well, be careful what you wish for.
This seems another less output round from Silva. Seems like Angulo's experience and maybe even size is starting to wear him down.
God knows he's hit the smaller man with some big shots.
Under a minute remaining in the 9th round. Angulo with the left hand. Silva using his footwork to move away. Flashes the jab, goes downstairs to the body, but again it's Angulo countering with the more effective shots upstairs.
Blood coming out of the mouth of Angulo.
Angulo trying to keep Silva at bay with the left hand. Now working the body, going upstairs with a nice combination. In close now.
After turning lefty, no less.
How is Silva still there with these shots? It's amazing.
Angulo continuing to work on Silva on the ropes, just peppering him with some soft shots right now, maybe leading up to a big one. There's a left hook from Silva, and the left hook to the body by Angulo. Final 10 seconds of the round, and it's just usually the case in this fight. They maybe save the best for the last bit of the
Everything okay? Hands okay?
Yeah.
Good. You see, when you put the short pressure on him, he can't stand it. Am I right? Okay? Okay there? Okay there? Breathe deep.
Throw everything out, and this is the last round. Give it your all. And be solid with your punches. Right in the middle like you were doing. And this is the last round.
So we are set for the 10th and final round of what has been a spirited scrap here between Alfredo Angulo and Jorge Silva. Referee Raul Kais Jr. instructing them to box, and they are underway. You know, Silva told us in the fighter meetings that he loves to use his footwork, eat up real estate in the ring, and told us that the left hook is his best punch. He'll try to land that and everything else here with really nothing left. It's the final round of a very close fight.
Now, Angulo is 1-0 in 10-round fights, and Silva's 0-1-1. Of course, we mentioned the draw against Hamagai in a terrific fight his last time out.
Keeps fighting like he did in his last two fights. He's going to develop a pretty good reputation as an action fighter.
And again, let's not forget, just 20 years of age.
Now Silva's punches appear to be pushed a little bit. Not as much steam, we'll see.
And Paulie, even though Angulo is known as a knockout brawler, is again a great exchange here and flashing the jab, following it up with the right hand. Lots of infighting here between Silva and Angulo.
Silva landed 2 good left hooks. He is really trying to set him up for another hook, even though he's taking punishment.
Right hand to the body, a left hook to the body by Angulo. I was going to say, Paulie, that going maybe the distance is good for Angulo as well because of the long layoff.
Yeah, absolutely. You need the rounds a lot of times, as they say, and he's getting them here, and he's getting them at a fast pace. Let me tell you something else. Turning southpaw on the inside was helping him defensively. He was getting hit with less hooks, and it was helping him set up that hook to the body. He's back right-handed now, but he was able to roll on a lot of Silva's counter left hooks when he was southpaw.
Yeah,
And he's battering Silva now with body punches and going upstairs with a right hand to the head. Angulo looking to put an exclamation point on this, his second fight since his long layoff. Right hand to the body, left hook to the body. Silva, very valiant effort. A game warrior taking all kinds of punishment here in round 10.
Silva has put all his eggs in one basket now in this round. Can he land the left hook that will really hurt, or he'll have to knock down Angulo? Look at him. Everything's about Silva trying to land the hook.
Oh, and it's Angulo who responds with a left hook of his own.
And meanwhile, as you say, Angulo's been working away.
Uppercut by Angulo. Silva needs to get away from the ropes. Under 30 seconds left in the fight. Left hand to the body by Angulo. Right hand jacks the jaw of Silva. The crowd here in LA electrified. A terrific scrap. And we're headed to what should be a fantastic finish.
Finally, Silva was looking to hold. I was wondering when somebody was going to look to hold.
No holding in this one. And it's Angulo unleashing the fury of Hades on Silva as we go to the end of what is a great fight.
Terrific fight, guys. Great action.
And Jorge Silva, you know, win or lose, this youngster's stock has risen.
Yeah, after a performance like that against a fighter of the caliber of Alfredo Angulo, he came out of nowhere to bring on this performance.
And there are several key factors. Never has he fought at this high a weight against that kind of puncher at 154 pounds. I mean, that makes this performance special. I think he probably lost this fight by a couple points at the very least. And for Angulo, yes, there were some defensive lapses as we look at the numbers. Not a huge margin, a good margin at the end of the day for Angulo, and he was busier than Silva. Most of that margin was built up in the last several rounds when Angulo really went to town. But The power punches, a big difference at the end for Alfredo
And
Angulo.
anytime you land over 50% of your power punches, usually means you probably win in the fight, right?
Not only that, it means the other guy's going to have a headache later on.
Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. All three judges scored about the same, 97 to 93, in favor of the winner, Alfredo Angulo.
Alfredo Angulo picks up the 22nd